I kind of took a little bit of a pause, I feel like, and just kind of wanted to breathe and be present. It wasn't easy, getting everything done, graduating and all that. I feel like sometimes, you take it for granted that you were able to accomplish something like that, like graduating, but it's not everyone that, makes it all the way through and graduates. So thankful, one to God for, allowing me to, have the opportunity to go to Boston University, and for his, continued grace and favor towards me. Obviously, thankful to my family for always supporting me and encouraging me, and to my friends as well who have done the same. And yeah, so last summer after graduating, I didn't have any, job lined up. And so I just kind of went into, trying to do some freelance work, at least to make some money while I was kind of, looking for jobs. And so I was fortunate enough to have one of my professors from senior year, Professor Grady, he reached out to me about working on a project. And so that was pretty cool to be able to work with my professor Postgrad. Definitely check out his company, Design Axle. They do a lot of UI, UX design. And, he's definitely worked on a lot of cool projects. But outside of working on that freelance project, and then, a few kind of like smaller things here and there, I really wasn't doing a whole lot of work. And then in terms of the job search, I was still mainly looking only at jobs in sports design, whether with like professional teams or collegiate programs. And I probably ended up sending out about 30 applications or so, but that was including like both design and photography positions. And then I ended up hearing back from one NBA team, which was pretty cool. I can't lie. Because for one thing too, it also showed me that, hey, people are actually seeing these applications, because it can be a little discouraging when you put all this time into, you're writing your cover letters, you're doing, you're submitting these applications and you don't get any response, or you just get a straight up rejection. It can kind of feel like, oh man, like when am I gonna, get an opportunity to even just like get my foot in the door. So it was cool to get that opportunity. And it was honestly, the circumstances of getting an opportunity to interview was kind of crazy, because like the day that I got notification that they had shown interest in wanting to have me interview for the position, I was on like the way to Ghana. I'd gone to Ghana with my sister, and we had landed in Cote d'Ivoire, which is right next door. And so I think we were in like the middle of like transition, like waiting to transition to, flying to Ghana. And then like while we were in the airport, I'm pretty sure is when I like saw the notification that, they wanted me to do the, complete the interview and everything. And so luckily, like the interview was like online. It was like a remote interview, and it was like pre-recorded as well. So I didn't have to worry about, like time difference or anything like that. But I did only have a couple of days to complete it. So, just having that whole like situation of me just arriving in Ghana and then having to record this interview and all that, I can't say that my head was exactly in the best space to do all that. And then additionally though, I just feel like this obviously I'd had like interviews before for like my previous internships, but this one, I don't know, I was just particularly nervous for this one. I remember just like the first question they literally just asked was like, tell me about yourself, which is like a standard like interview question. And I remember I'd like kind of like prepared for it a little bit, but when they asked me on like the online thing, I just froze. And I was like, my name is Perry. And then I like couldn't think of anything else to say. So yeah, I did not end up advancing in the interview stages for that position, but I'm still thankful that I was able to even get that interview and kind of just get a feel for what the interview process would be like. And I think if I ever have like another interview, I'll definitely be more prepared. I'll be more well prepared. But honestly, I would say for the summer I wasn't too so that was in like July last year, and I would say like I wasn't too concerned about finding a job at that time, at least. Like I honestly just kind of wanted to take it chill. Like while I was in Ghana, that was like one of the first times I like didn't really like that was like one of the first times in like a while I had taken like a real vacation from like doing any type of work, because like being a designer, it's like you can always have work to do just because of the nature of the work, right? You know, you can do anything remote. There are people always looking for, you know, to have something made. So at that time I was kind of honestly just taking like a little bit of a pause from design. Wasn't really posting like that much on social media, doing like personal work or anything like that. And then so yeah, I enjoyed my couple of weeks in Ghana and just really being present and getting to spend time with family, and you know, just getting to kind of meet and connect with you know, with new people, feel more established and connected there. And then so yeah, when I was you know, coming back to the US, I think it was like August 12th or 13th, I just remember feeling like, okay, you know, I've had my, you know, my little period of enjoyment, relaxing. Now that I go back home, like, you know, I'm like, summer's almost over. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, where, you know, I can't just be, you know, sitting around waiting for, you know, stuff to happen. I gotta, you know, try and figure out, like, you know, do I keep applying for jobs, or do I just try and go, like, you know, go harder and go all in on this freelance stuff? And then, crazy enough, a couple days after I landed back home in the US on August 15th, I was checking my email and I got a message from some guy named Jake. And I'm like, okay, let me check this out. And I think the header was just like, I think basically just said like some sort of like partnership opportunity. And then so in the email, he basically said like, yo, what's up? I'm Jake. You know, I just graduated. He had only graduated like a year ahead of me. So like, you know, we're the same age. And then he mentioned that he was looking to partner with a designer to start like a brand that basically collaborates with athletes, entertainers, influencers, and performers to, you know, make merch for them. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy, because that literally aligns perfectly with my interests in wanting to combine. I'd always wanted to, you know, work at the intersection of sports design and pop culture. I mean, that's kind of what I was already doing in terms of like my personal work, but, you know, taking that to the professional level and being able to monetize that was really what I was seeking. And so I, you know, after reading his message, I was like, okay, you know, I'm down to, you know, I'm definitely interested, you know, I'm down to hop on a call and, you know, kind of like talk things out more. And then so I forget if we talked on the phone like the next day or maybe like in a couple of days, but yeah, after talking to him on the phone and everything, I was like, man, I can tell this guy's got a good head on his shoulders, you know. He's definitely, I could just like sense that, because you can tell like usually right away when you're talking to someone if you're gonna vibe with them or be able to like work well with them. And obviously if you're doing a partnership, like it would be kind of foolish to try and work with someone that you're not gonna vibe well with, because that's gonna cause a lot of issues. But yeah, after talking to him, I was like, I can, you know, definitely see us working together and everything. And then so he lives in Jersey, which is another thing too, which was like, wow, like he literally also, you know, lives like relatively close to, you know, to me. So I think maybe like the following week or so, we ended up meeting up in person, like halfway in between, you know, where we live, and then started hashing out the plans and ideas for our brand, which is Home Crowd Threads. And so to me, it's crazy that like it all kind of happened off of like a, you know, kind of like a random reach out, which goes back to like my earlier lesson, right? You know, don't be afraid to reach out to your network, even though at the time, I guess I wasn't really in his network, but he had randomly stumbled upon my, I think, page on TikTok or something like that. But then I guess that even ties into the whole idea of, you know, trying to, you know, put yourself out there. But yeah, I mean, I think my whole thought process was, why wait for, you know, these companies or these organizations to give me an opportunity to pursue, you know, what I've been interested in doing since I was a kid, which is, you know, to, like I said, work and partner with these, you know, professional athletes and teams. You know, why not, you know, create that opportunity, you know, for myself or for ourselves, you know, working with Jake, because that was also something that, you know, was definitely a goal of his. And so, you know, our visions both aligned and our partnership works really well. I mean, you know, I get to focus on, you know, doing, you know, my designs and illustrations, which is something I was already, you know, doing, and I just get to apply that to, you know, the business that we're running. And then he gets to be, you know, more on the marketing side of things, and we combine together to, our entrepreneurial minds to see how we can really grow and scale, this business. So we had our soft launch back in November, just kind of throwing our name out there, getting, trying to, get some eyes on our brand and everything. And then when we were, in the process of building up the brand and everything, we didn't want to rush anything, from the beginning, even with figuring out like, who are we going to print through, doing a couple of like test prints, things like that. And then figuring out like our strategy for building out, our social media platforms and all that. And, doing a ton of reaching out to people, and hoping, that someone would just give us a chance to, work with them and partner with them. And then so in January was when we launched our first partnership. I mean, that was pretty cool to get to connect with a professional quarterback right from the jump. So slowly but surely I've been able to start building these relationships and collaborating with these athletes. And so we're looking to continue building these relationships and maintaining them. And I'd be lying if I said that I haven't like doubted myself a million times throughout this short period that, it's been building up. And I think that kind of goes back to the whole instant gratification thing that you kind of, especially, with social media, you kind of get a false sense of that, some of the, the brands that we see today that are really dominating the marketplace, that, they kind of just like were able to land there after a couple months of work. Like, no, like the biggest brands that are around today didn't just like up and start and, they were the next big thing. Like it took, like I mentioned earlier, it takes, there's a lot of preparation that goes into being ready for that stage where you can really elevate and, have success. There's a podcast I listen to called Podcast P, hosted by Paul George, who is an NBA player for the Los Angeles Clippers. And so in one of the episodes, he had talked about how when he was a rookie in his rookie season, he basically proclaimed to his locker room that in 2 to 3 years, he would be an all-star. And they all kind of like laughed at him or like, what are you talking about? Like, you've literally been getting cooked in practice by our own guys. Like, what makes you think you're going to be an all-star? And lo and behold, I mean, now Paul George had several all-stars under his belt and is regarded as one of the best players in the league. So I think having that mindset of, just give us a couple years and check in then and see where we're at. And I'm sure it's going to be even beyond our wildest expectations. And that brings me to the final lesson, which is slow motion is better than no motion, which is also one of my life mottos. And, basically it just means that it's better to start and, kind of build up something slowly and consistently rather than not start at all because of fear of failure or because you're afraid of not having instant success. I mean, I certainly don't have everything figured out yet, but I'm on that journey right now and I'm excited to bring you guys with me.